Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing on a Friday? I guess it's Friday afternoon in some places. It's 11:30 here, so a little bit before lunch. Got about an hour and got a baseball game to go to in a little bit, and just thought I'd kind of come on and want to thank everybody for the incident we had last night at the high school graduation. Who reached out and some pretty hairy moments there. I don't know if you know there was some gunfire after the graduation, and we basically had to run and get the kids and scoop up a bunch of kids, and yeah, it was kind of scary. But hey, after a rough night of probably going over a lot of things in your head, you wake up to a new day and hope today is better than yesterday. So Max, what's up? Angela, Jim Beauchard, Mike Rennick, Matt Bagwell, Dave, One Visionario. Everybody wants to pop in. You're welcome to. Just got about an hour. Steve knows. How you doing? I got the link in the chat. Uh, yeah, Rob. Hey, thank you. Yeah. It's definitely eye opening, and for Bailey, last year she was lifeguarding at the pool, brand new pool, and they had some gunshots right there, and she had to put kids in the bathroom. So I guess 17 years old, and she's been very close to gunfire twice, which is very very strange. I mean, I'm 65 and never experienced anything like that. So yeah, so I guess it's a changing world we live in, and hey, all I can say is tell everybody that's near you you love them, every day because hey, things could have changed in an instant. 4 people shot, and so uh, it's just the world we live in today. Angela, what's up? Matt Bagwell, yeah. Hey, I was texting Matt yesterday. I know Matt. I know you're probably working, but hey, I was I kind of reached out. I know you got the Nano Plus, and hey, my Nano Plus is flying really, really good, and I'm excited about the drone. It made some improvements in the last couple firmware updates, so yeah, it's fun. Hey, if anybody like to pop in, you're welcome to. Links in the chat. Max, what you doing? Max, I watched your video. Well, I actually played the other night. You DJI. I think you hit a tree. Was that right? I can get Maddie to give you flying lessons, Matt. I got to pick on you. So how's everybody doing today? What's up with the Nano? Not Nano. What about with the Mini 3? Anybody heard any updates on that drone? Mine is ordered. Still says to be shipped. Everybody's now they saying I think May 31st. Hope what you say, Matt? Let's see here, Matt Bagwell. I'm definitely going to put that. I wanted to work this week on vacation, so hope I have. Yeah. I hear you. Max is working. Gotcha. Yeah, if anybody like to pop in, you're welcome to. Do we have a show Fly Zone tonight? I think they did a show last week, and they're doing it every other week. So no show tonight, I don't guess. I've got one of you guys deliveries at Best Buy. He knows the girl really well in the back receiver. Said, yeah. I went to my Best Buy here local, and of course the little girl that I asked really didn't know what a drone was, but she did actually go out of her way to pull it up on the phone and look. So hey, Robbie, welcome in. So yeah, no drone. I think in that drone case at my local Best Buy, they have a Spark and a Mavic 3. So big range there. So yeah. So I don't know about the Mini 3 being in Best Buy yet. So links in the chat, guys. If anybody wants to pop in, you're welcome to. See what's going on this weekend. Dinner, Angie. It's lunchtime. Oh, you inviting Lon over for some chicken, Angela? I see how y'all. You could text them. Okay, Matt, I see you say next week. Yeah. Jay Santiago, welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, guys, let me see if I can pull up Trying to see. I was trying to see if they had of course, there was a lot of videos here. If you watch my videos, you'll see this is where I shoot all the time. That building it basically is our front yard. It's the University Center. That's where they play basketball. Southeastern.
Have been shot on the campus of Southeastern
And of course, this is kind of like the scene here.
Says it happened outside the university center. Now, this happened as the Hammond High School graduation was letting out. We know that 4 people, again, have been shot, and police say their injuries range from minor to severe. One person we do know is also in custody, but police say there is no threat to the community. Of course, we're waiting to get more information and standing by for a press conference from the Hammond Police Department that's starting in just a couple of minutes. We'll take that live as soon as it begins.
Yeah, so some Dave. Yeah, it was kind of scary last night, guys. My son-in-law's a police officer. Of course, he ran into the shooting, into the gunfire. So yeah, those guys put their life on the line all the time. And hey, Angela, yeah, 86753. Yeah, I hear you. One bitch. Yeah. Lon always picking on Angela about her phone number, so. But yeah, so I thought it's on the Mini 3, guys. What do you think? Is that drone? It's going to be released soon? Hey, mine's paid for, not shipped. Kind of like I guess kind of feel like it was a pre-order, although it really wasn't. And hey, guys, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3. I got 4, 5 drones I'm looking at right here, so not a shortage of drones, but you feel like you paid for it. And so yeah, society shooting in St. Louis, 14-3. Yeah. I know. It's crazy. We have a big strawberry festival here in Ponchatoula, a little town over from Hammond here, and they actually had some gunfire in front of the police station. So yeah, it's not safe anywhere. But hey, yeah, 10 to 15 days. I won't start worrying about. Yeah, I hear you. Chris, I understand, and yeah. It says that I think now somebody said the 31st. Of course, we heard the 17th, but hey, it's going to be coming, and I'm sure the drone will be a lot of reviews. Yeah, Dave. Yeah, no news for you either. Anybody wants to hop in the chat? You're welcome to. Susan Lee, welcome in. Yeah. I don't know about a Hubsan. I think I'm done with Hubsan. I'm done with FEMI. You keep trying those drones. You thinking they're going to be better. I mean, every time one comes out, you kind of put your past purchases aside and. Yeah, Matt, somebody kind of said that here, but and listen, I understand prices up and all that, but man, we used to, of course, I'm not saying, I grew up in what Hammond was actually the Strawberry Festival of the world, world strawberry capital for many years. And Ponchatoula, a little town over, kind of took that title away from us, but nobody forms that much, but man, they're getting like $30 a flat, and a flat, as you know, is 12 pints. And the way the berries look today, it's not very many berries in a pint. So people just, I'm personally, I guess, call me old school, but I'm not paying, $30 for a flat of strawberries. That I don't know. I know fertilizer, I know plants costs, and so I think they have that here, And even they want to sell you. I used to make a few gallons of wine. They want to sell you used to give you the old, what they call the seconds, as they go through the berries, the rottens and the ends. Now they try to sell them to you. So, but hey, that's the way it is in today's world. So, And Hudson, I had the Xeno 2, and I mean, it flew okay. I would say it flew okay, except for probably taking off, flying, and landing. Yeah, no, it was very, it was all over the place. I'm sorry, dropped a sticker here. Tom, what's up?
How are you today?
Oh, what's up, Tom? How you doing, man?
Good. I'm having a little bit of a volume problem here. Okay, let me see.
I can hear you. You're a little bit low.
I'm just raising the volume up. So do you think the Mini 3 is overpriced? What was the point you're trying to raise
No,
there?
actually, I think comparing. I think I mean, somehow everybody was saying 999, and actually it's 909 with that so-called. I mean, it's not a RC Pro, but it's some kind of little smart controller or something with a screen. So considering I paid 950 for the Nano Plus, I mean, I think 909 was pretty fair. Now, if you want that upgraded battery and the fly more, it's 249. Now you can get, I guess, the two regular batteries, and this was a little less. So, yeah, and I think Tom, we probably, those drones just aren't going to be cheap anymore.
They're not. I mean, the technology that goes in them, the innovation behind them. I think my Vig was 1257 all in.
Yeah, mine was 1260, and they, I think they,
Wow.
DJI didn't charge tax to Louisiana. Usually, we kind of last and everything, but they're first on collecting taxes now. So
Yeah, I didn't get charged tax either, but I got a golden ticket. I guess that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I
forgives
got the
us
golden
tax,
ticket. I don't
right?
know what it is, but I got one.
What really irks me a bit is the fact that it didn't come with ND filters, and I think all DJI drones, all Fly More kits should now come with filters.
Yeah, it should come with at least probably
8,
4 of
16,
them. 8,
32.
16, 32, yeah, 64 maybe.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's an extra, and that's what they're gonna. I guess that's what they're gonna get you at.
But it's an extra that's not available at point of sale. Meaning,
Absolutely. Just
this,
like batteries.
If
you don't get the Fly More kit, you won't get a battery for a long time.
No, and try to get a 30-watt charger.
Yep.
Okay. The 30-watt charger was probably the most reasonably priced thing they had. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, not available. The filters not available. To me, that doesn't make sense. I should be able to buy the accessory. Let me accessorize when I make the purchase.
Yeah, okay. And it is kind of frustrating only because, listen, if they'd have said that day when we ordered, hey, it's coming, I don't care if it had said July, as long as I know, that's the biggest thing. But, hey, I mean, I got the right to cancel. I didn't, and nobody forced me to order. So, people can argue all day long. You know how that is. So,
well, now I think they have it pushed out into August sometime, right?
I don't know. I really haven't. I mean, I think for the ones that got in early on DJI, they act like, I mean, I don't know where the May 31st date came in. I mean,
My email says May 26th.
See, mine doesn't say, I ordered mine before 9 o'clock. It was about 8:52. So I don't know if that had something to do with that, not generating a ship time or date. So I don't know. In mine, all it says is to be shipped. So.
Well, I was sucking into that DJI Select program years ago, which I still to this day wonder what a scam that was, because every time, I mean, it was only $20-something a year, but you get a quick ship and also very quick return on any service. But
right.
They give you this half a dozen 20% off coupons, but anytime you went to apply it, it wasn't applicable to that sale.
Yeah.
So, one thing, what I had to make my purchase right away on that morning, because otherwise my DJI credit, I think a whole $25 was expiring, Johnny. So
yeah, it's kind of I don't know. I mean, I would say I'm relatively new. I've been a couple of years now, but it seems like this is more like. I mean, I always think, and look, DJI. I mean, I got 4 DJI drones I'm looking at right here, but if Hubsan or Femi or Autel would do something like this, where they'd be like really getting ridiculed. And I mean, I understand, at least my Autel, when I did order it and I ordered from Autel Pilot, it came about 7 days from China. Now, it seemed like it wasn't supposed to be shipped at that time, but I did get it early. But hey, I guess the drone's coming. I guess we've just got to be patient. I mean, I don't think that. I don't. It's not like a Kickstarter type campaign. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, you could try to walk into a Best Buy and coerce an ignorant worker to pull one out of stock in the back, but
yeah, I just don't think. I mean, I know I went to my Best Buy, and I mean, like I said, they have a Spark and a Mavic 3 in there. So I mean, that case ain't been touched since the Mavic. And I don't even know how the Mavic 3 got in there, really. But I asked a little girl, and she didn't even know what a drone was, but she did at least take the time. You know how they look stuff up on their phone.
Yeah.
And she looked and she said, well, you can't even, she said, there's not even no way to order it on what she was looking at. So anyway,
right.
The chance of me getting a Mini 3 from my store was pretty impossible. So
yeah, same here. But
well, you got to live by Eddie. You got to move back up to New York because Eddie snagged one.
Yeah, he lucked out. We'll say he lucked out. And the good thing is Eddie's able to get some videos out there. He's pretty prolific.
Yeah.
So, that's a good thing. You got a couple of different points of view out there, but everything I'm seeing so far, Johnny, looks good. I mean, I think it's going to make for a great travel drone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a few, you're going to see just like, somebody said it's running a little hot and da. But I mean, listen, when you start off like where you're going to start off temperature wise and myself, it was 93 degrees yesterday. Well, guess what? It's already hot. You take the drone out the case,
Well, today it's going to be about 20 degrees cooler than yesterday. Yesterday it got to 102.
Oh, wow.
So, but again, it's a different 102. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I don't know. I'll tell you what, man, I was cutting grass. It was Monday and it was 93. And it's like, wow, either I'm getting older or it's like, and I know, and people, the humidity is pretty bad down here, but man,
that's your biggest problem.
I'll tell you what, I just, I am getting older, of course, but man, I'll tell you what, I jump right in the pool usually I'll put my base suit on to cut grass, but I jumped in the pool with clothes and all, after I got through weed eating.
Well, the thing you got is you have that oppressive humidity. That's like somebody sitting on your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the problem. Hey, what's up there? But the thing that look, if you leave any drone sitting with the battery running and the prop's not spinning, she's going to heat up on you. I've had Mavic 2 Pros heat up on me. I've had everything, heat up on me. Leaving,
especially if you get out there and you happen to have to do an update or something, you're already behind the curve. You're behind the curve already. So
that one thing that troubles me, and the only thing that troubles me at this point regarding the Mavic 3 Mini is Eddie was looking to do some testing, and he got a message that said the drone was locked until firmware was updated. Now he was in the field, so now he's stuck. He did finally do the update in the field, but your connections are spotty at best.
Yeah, see, I didn't see him. I didn't see that part, but wow.
Yeah, he just put that up yesterday or the day before, and so that's concerning if they're going to lock you for a firmware upgrade.
So it's a forced update.
It was a forced update.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if it could have done anything with a battery. Sometimes that's more of a
Yeah, well, the batteries are always the ones that get you, right? Because you do your firmware upgrades at home, you're all set. You go out to the field, you got 3 batteries. After you put in that second battery, you realize, oh, I didn't update the firmware on the battery. So now you got a firmware inconsistency that you have to do in the field. I am so reluctant doing any type of firmware upgrade in the field because that firmware fails, or it looks like it failed. Then you could basically brick your drone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I know the Nano Plus, the Nano, you had to do the one of the first upgrades, you had to do every battery.
Yeah.
And that was a pain, and then they corrected where then it seemed like the last one, it seemed like I had to do that. So I don't know, it's kind of all over the place, but those force updates are kind of, they'll get you, especially like you say, you're out in the field, you got a full battery, and then your connection is, sometimes it takes a 5-minute update might take 20 minutes,
Yeah.
If you get it to go through.
Yeah. And it's always good practice, and it should be part of your normal routine whenever you do a firmware upgrade, that you then finish up by cycling your batteries through that drone. Because,
Yeah.
again, with DJI, every firmware upgrade has to touch the battery. I have yet to see I think the last time I saw that not be an issue was probably on a Mini 1. Okay. But after that, any drone that I updated, you also had to touch the batteries.
Well, you do, and you know what? You need to go back over. I mean, you return to home settings, maybe calibrate. I mean,
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
because I mean, I keep mine at, I don't know, 170 feet, maybe 165, whatever. But sometimes, man, you look back and man, this thing's back to, I don't know, might be on zero or whatever. So
Yep.
you gotta check
Got to
that.
be real
Sometimes
careful.
all those settings get wiped out.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this is what we talk about all the time, right? Is that pre-flight? The pre-flight. We're all like want to get up there as quickly as possible because we want to get the money shot. Okay. But the real money shot comes when you get shot in the wallet because you didn't do a pre-flight and you lose your drone as a result.
Well, they were waiting for while you're waiting for the satellites. I mean, you can check a lot of that stuff. You can check your camera, you can check your, so I mean, I don't know, people are having issues, still having some, and some people are not. So, but hey,
Yeah, well, let me put it this way: if you've ever been in a small aircraft or private aircraft, okay, I don't care how long that pilot owner has owned that aircraft, but when he gets in that aircraft, the first thing he does is he goes for his pre-flight checklist.
Sure.
Opens it up, sits on his thigh, and he goes through it point by point by point. Now, you've been in that aircraft 1,000 times. You've gone through the same routine 1,000 times. Why do I need that checklist? Why? Because we're human beings. We get distracted very easily.
Sure.
You miss one step, one preheat on the carb or something like that. It might not be noticeable during your spin up, but now when you're in the air or attempting to get in the air, that's when the problem arises, and those are the worst times for something to arise, right?
Yeah, you hate to look if you run into something or you do something really stupid, but you really hate to lose a drone because of a simple maybe update or something you really didn't check that you should have checked before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the majority of issues, Johnny, we got to be honest with ourselves, because this is, it's just like addiction therapy, right? You got to be honest with yourself. The majority of issues that we have are user-centric issues.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
Between the seat and the keyboard.
Yeah.
Or in the IT industry, we call that the ID10T code, okay, which actually spells out idiot. Okay? That's basically us not going through a checklist.
Man, look, you realize you do some, like I think I said this, you might not heard me, but a couple weeks ago, they're building our farm, adding dirt. So of course I put the drone up and I got the guy on the dozer spreading the dirt. I'm gonna send it to my son-in-law and my daughter, and where everybody's excited. So man, I put the little Mini 2 up. So I walk inside, start downloading the pictures on my phone real quick. Guess where the drone was? I left it up. I realized, I said, oh my God, the drone's still flying. So, I mean, you do some, and no matter how many flights I've had, it's like, I realized, I said, oh my, and the drone now probably would have come back and landed like where I took off, which was just right next door. But
we get distracted. Yeah.
Yeah, we get distracted. And imagine, like
absolutely.
you say, people walk up to you and but man, I just can't believe I've done that. I'm downloading a couple pictures and I said, I just realized that, oh hell, the drone is up and it's still flying. So yeah, you can get distracted in a second.
Well, I had a flight, and it was along the East River in New York City from Long Island City, Queens, on one of the outer boroughs, with Manhattan skyline right on the other side. It was a 6 a.m. golden hour flight in the morning, and I sent it up the river, and I had set my return to home altitude to 400 feet because I have skyscrapers all around me, but I'm going to stay over the river. So I go up the river, getting some phenomenal shots. and then I start to yaw or start to turn it to starboard to the right. But I passed behind a building that the way the shoreline went, it actually jutted out towards the west slightly. So, man, I disconnected. Had no video feed.
So you had something in between you, basically, I guess is.
Yeah, I had a huge 40-plus story building between me and my controller. So, you know what you do? What do you do at that point? Well, what you do is hit that return to home button. Hear that remote beeping. Okay, at least your controller is beeping at you. Okay, and if you went through your pre-flight, then you set up your drone to return to home if it lost the signal. Okay, and I'm going through my head. Did I do that? Do I have obstacle avoidance on?
Right.
You know, you can turn that you were talking about firmware updates, right? You can definitely reset that stuff to factory, which means it's not on.
Yeah.
So I went through in my head, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And I did. Okay. About 60 seconds later, I now have control and a video feed. Okay. I get it back. I don't look at the footage right away. I go home. I sit down, and I was blown away because that drone came right to somebody's balcony. Okay. And it was probably 30 feet below the roof line of that building. And it went right towards this balcony, like it wasn't going to stop. And then maybe 6 feet away, it just stopped. It looked.
Oh.
And then it looked this way and it looked that way, but it was on the corner of a building. So by looking this way and that way, it looked too large for it to go around. So it went up.
Up.
Now when it went up, my heart's in, my mouth at that point because I'm watching it. Now there's an antenna farm on top of that roof.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All of those.
And I'm like, so now it starts to go and it looks again, it stops, rises up again, clears them and starts to head back. And that's when I get the signal back. Now, if I didn't check my return to home altitude, if I didn't make sure that obstacle avoidance was on, and the most important one, what happens when you lose transmission? What is the drone going to do? Well, guess what? You select that. So make the right choice. I mean, if you're out on the water, you're doing a Captain Ray where you're bouncing around in the water on your boat and you got the drone up, maybe if you lose signal, you want it to hover because your return to home point keeps changing, right?
Sure.
As you move. Okay. Or you want to reset it to the controller. But to reset it to the controller, you have to do it before you lose transmission. Okay. So each time you change your location, I think Ray was talking to somebody about, being near a buoy or making sure you drop your anchor, because when you're out on the water, you're drifting. You're going to drift with the current. And that means your home point's going to change.
Sure.
And you don't want the drone to come down where it thought you were.
Yeah.
Okay. But, setting those things is so important. And it's part of, it's like anything else. It's part of the hobby, whether you do it commercially or you do it recreationally, it's a necessary part of putting.
Well, you're right. You make a good point. Safety. I hate to say safety don't matter commercially or recreational. Safety is safety. So
absolutely.
So that's kind of. I mean, yeah. If you get that flight, do it and just go over it. And I know I fly in the same spot right here in my front most of the time, so I feel pretty comfortable. But first thing I do is get to location, man, look all around, and and you kind of see what's around. Wires. I mean, wires are easily. Everything here is overhead, power, electrical, cable. So man, there's a ton of wires. And they're not very tall, but hey, you make one little mistake, guess what? Your drone is whacked.
It's just like you fly in an area you're familiar with, right? And so the seasons change.
Yeah.
And where it can see all those leaves on the tree, when the tree leaves fall, those little branches aren't as easy to see anymore. So now, where you're familiar on flying, that familiarity needs to be updated, just like your firmware, right? Things can change in an area. And that's the thing. You got to look at it and say, okay, what are my obstacles in the area? What do I have to worry about? It's also when you go to do something like if I'm going to do an orbit of something, the first thing I do before I do the orbit is I recon the area
Sure.
with the drone. If I'm moving sideways, okay, I don't have a camera looking sideways. So before I do that orbit, I'm going to fly that, okay, with a different aspect. I'm going to go around and look for those obstacles, recognize them, and adjust my flight parameters based on that. Because you want to capture the shot, but you don't want to stutter halfway through because something's coming at you, and now you have to readjust. And no, you want to get the clean shot.
Yeah,
So,
and the side to side to get you,
fun.
side to side to get you before anything will.
Always. Even with those side sensors
Yeah.
on the newer drones,
Yeah.
they're only so good, right?
Well, they kind of, to me, they're kind of, I say, late to the ball game. They're kind of late. You just got to be careful, and like you say, survey and watch, and I mean, even if I know you don't have to have a camera drone, you don't have to have a spotter, but hey, it always helps if you got somebody helping you a little bit, looking around, especially if you're doing something for a shoot. Try to get in there and get your shot and get out of there. I mean, you're not really flying, and I only do a few little roof inspections and stuff. I really haven't done a lot of stuff, but I'll bring my granddaughter, and she's starting to learn to fly, so she's kind of getting familiar with, hey, I'm and trying to teach her some, so.
Yeah, my spotter gets paid in shoes and bags.
Yeah, I hear you.
But she doesn't mind going out because we get to see some amazing places.
Actually, Marcus just called me, but I'm gonna call him back. I told him to hop on. I don't know if he's available. He was just calling and check on. He had texted me last night late after
Yeah, Johnny,
I guess Tommy saw what happened at the graduation.
Yeah, man. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I'm so sorry your grandkids.
Yeah, they were pretty. I will say they were pretty shook up.
Yeah, it's very
This
unsettling.
is let me play this little video. This is kind of. You can see the people running. This was taken from a balcony from student housing.
So is the perp in custody?
They do have one person in custody. It was my son-in-law is, of course, a police officer. And of course he, after we ran to the car and ran wherever and grabbed all the kids, he did go right in. He did have his pistol with him. It was
that's scary, Johnny, because he's not in uniform. So.
Uniform, yeah. And that's one thing I did, the state police, hey, Marcus, the state police would, of course, come in a matter of seconds, and of course, more Hammond cops and more Southeastern cops. And that's one thing. And Craig, I mean, he was wearing plain clothes. Now he did have his guns. So I was making sure that they knew, he had an officer that was armed, but he was not wearing a uniform, of course. And but I tell you what, I saw about there was 2 Matrice drones up in a matter of maybe, I guess, 10 minutes. State police,
was local law enforcement.
Yeah, well, the state police, we don't have a drone. I mean, I've always, me and Edwin, the police chief, are friends, and he's kind of looking into it. But yeah, they did put 2 Matrice drones up, and they do have some pretty sophisticated video camera, and they were able to apprehend one suspect. So it was a guy that was probably about 21 years old, and of course an ex-student, and they had a little beef inside, and it kind of carried outside.
What a way to say
Johnny,
beef, huh?
There were 3 high school graduations yesterday, including yours, that were disrupted by gunfire.
Really?
How we do this, Marcus?
Well,
what's the matter with this country? We got 3. You got 2 more tonight, and you got 2 tomorrow. They at that same building, and of course, the Southeastern, and I'm fixing to go to game in a little bit here. But Dr. Crane is the president. Everybody, I think he's going to end up pulling graduations from that building because it's just a huge liability. I don't know where these schools. There's probably 40 schools that graduate in that building.
Right.
As far away as even Baton Rouge or Walker and Denham, which is a little smaller town, suburbs of Baton Rouge. So it's just, then I was kind of aggravated because they did the press conference from the lab school, which was, I don't know, to me, just a bad place to hold a press conference in front of a K to 8th grade school. I mean, when they could have held it somewhere else. But anyway,
it was some pretty scary moments.
Johnny, I have to tell you, I watched your. I didn't watch it live, but I watched your live stream afterwards, and I was in tears by the end of that.
Yeah, it was bad. You know, Bailey, last year she was lifeguarding at the pool, and somebody, because there's a skate park and basketball courts and all that. So somebody, of course, popped as they say, popped the whole clip, and she put the kids in the bathroom. So it's like she's 17 and then went through.
She sheltered them.
You shouldn't have to think about stuff like that.
No, not as a 17-year-old, you shouldn't, right? But really, should society have to think about this crap? I mean, it's getting ridiculous. You know, the problem, and what really scares me is, when I worked the streets, what scared me the most, I would say, was kids with guns.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're so desensitized in the media on, with the gaming industry and all of that. They're so desensitized that, everybody that gets shot, you get awarded points, and then they get up and they continue playing. Well, we don't get up and continue playing.
No, you know what's bad? It's the same typical, and we've all seen the interviews. I mean, it's like we stand around taking pictures and you hear boom, 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 pop, 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 whatever. And people are popping them little champagne poppers. There's balloons. And then, of course, the second clip or whatever, Craig, my son-in-law said, my other son-in-law too, it's a gun. And of course, people, look, I will say I made light of it. On the Seinfeld episode when George ran over the kids and the clown and all that on that. That's what people
don't think when they
and they were
flight.
Yeah, they were two elderly ladies that jumped in.
Flight.
There was two elderly ladies that jumped in the car with my son-in-law. They were just disoriented and. But anyway,
and it would have to be, I think, also the other trauma that I believe you have to be aware of, Johnny, is with your grandkids. I mean, if they realize that what happened, okay, that's one part of it. But then seeing their dad back
Lena
towards the issue, that had to be scary for them.
Lena's 8, and she really had a rough night as far as But they did cancel. They did cancel school today, of course, and at first they said the teachers had to go, but then they did not. So because a lot of parents, like my daughter, she had a younger, Laney was 10, and she was pretty upset. But anyway, hey, it's a better day, and just move on.
Everyone's okay. Unfortunately, somebody did lose their life, and thoughts go out to that family. One life impacts so many others.
It's a fact. One thing we do know here is Johnny is well loved, isn't he? His phone keeps blowing up time after time. Yeah, it's such a weird thing. I live in Idaho where this is just such a gun-centric state. Open carry, closed carry, you can do anything you want.
I'm sorry, I had a phone call.
I went to to a cookie store the other day. Those stores that sell the big cookies, and sitting there in the car, and this girl, maybe, I don't know, she might have been in her late 20s, maybe, I'm going to say.
Right.
Well, she comes out of that store and she's got a 38 on her hip, which is perfectly legal in Idaho.
Right.
But I'm thinking to myself, okay, what were you so threatened by at that cookie store?
Yeah.
You thought you needed to carry your 38 on your hip in that cookie store. And I think about if you're in there with your kids and they turn around, I just don't think it's a good thing. I went to the park the other day. I went to a local park, kids playing. This guy gets out of his Suburban. He's got a 9mm on each hip.
Really?
Perfectly legal.
Yeah. Right.
But you're in a park with a bunch of kids. And I'm thinking, if I'm a mother and I've got kids playing on those play structures, you know what I'd do? I'd grab them and get the heck out of there. Well,
it's kind of an open end. I agree. I have my concealed permit. Of course, I don't know. Listen, what it would have, I don't say would have done any good last night. I'm not going to pull a gun out with thousands of people. They had 300 students. Every kid's got probably 10 or 12 people there. They had probably 4,000 people at this graduation, So,
and the thing is, situational awareness, understanding the risk, how to mitigate the risk properly, and being able to leverage lethal action. Okay, so that's a big problem. Having a concealed carry. Okay, I'm in a concealed carry state now. Okay, you couldn't even think about it in New York City. Here, no sooner I get here, I get ads in the mail.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a matter of whether you can leverage a lethal weapon or not at the time that you need to. Most people can't.
Right.
Okay, and that means now that weapon becomes the weapon for your opposer.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
That's right.
You get victimized by that. So look, I started my career as a medic in the Navy, an ASC rescue corpsman, and then on the job as a New York City medic. So using lethal is a little bit of a quandary for me. There is non-lethal out there also, and I had to actually pick something up because of the RV and being out and dispersed camping and boondocking. And my main concern was more about wildlife coming upon us, right? So, one of the things my wife is a great shot. Okay, I've taken it to the range numerous times, but that lady will not pull the trigger against somebody. Okay, it's not going to happen. So, I have a launcher instead. It's by 68 millimeter pepper balls. Well, now it's these max balls that have pepper, CS, and something else in them too. So it's going to stop you. But that's a little easier for her to pull the trigger, knowing she's not going to kill somebody with it.
Yeah.
Okay. If we happen to have a mountain lion come up the trail at us or something like that, a couple of those shots, you don't even have to hit. You hit the ground near them, and then it disperses, and they're not going to come any closer. That might be a better alternative. The open carry states scare the heck out of me, Marcus. Okay? Because nowhere is there a label that this person's sane or insane.
Yeah, no lie.
And in a state like Idaho, you can basically walk in and purchase a weapon.
Here too.
Okay? I could walk into the State House. This is no joke.
Yeah.
I could walk into the State House with an AR-15, carrying it like this, and it's perfectly legal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
you get the steak you want, that's for sure.
I said the State House. I meant the State Capitol.
State House.
Oh, okay.
Government building.
Yeah. But the State House. Connie, it applies to the steakhouse as well. Out back, you can walk right in there.
Hey, yeah, now that
right
you get your steak cooked right. And
That's
the
right,
unfortunate, I hate to say this, even last night, Craig, my son-in-law, by that time had hooked up with a partner officer, one of the Southeastern cops. Of course, there were so many, all right, a gray car coming out of the parking lot, So they end up pulling a kid out. Well, a young man, of course, put him on the ground, and he was a graduate, and ended up being a great kid. Had nothing to do with it. So
yeah,
that's traumatized that kid.
And it's just more trauma. It's more trauma.
It's more trauma.
Man.
But anyway, hey, it's a bright day. It's a new day, and that's done with. And everybody that, hey, I'm saying a bunch of knuckleheads, and hey, we got to move on. So
I want to touch back on, you guys were talking about pre-flight inspections.
Yeah.
So damn important. In the last video that I put up, you can see a fault that I made in my pre-flight inspection. I was flying the little OG Mini and getting it all fired up, and I looked down at the controller and it says gimbal stuck. Well, I left the damn gimbal cover on the thing. And listen, I come from a transportation background. Pre-trip inspections were always a huge thing. I taught pre-trip inspections. I did all that stuff. And I take a lot of pride when I fly my drones in doing that pre-flight inspection. And I often show it when I do the videos for that very reason, just because to make people aware of it. However, in this case, anybody you can miss something, and I clearly did, and I made a big point about it in the video then, and said, hey,
that seems like that's the easiest thing to do. Leave that gimbal cover on.
Yeah.
So Eddie Nunez and I were at an RC park in Queens, in New York City, and Eddie taps me on the shoulder. There was a young man who came into the area and he set up at a park bench about 20 yards away from us. And he took out his brand new DJI drone, and he launched it. And so I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Eddie nudges me and says, "Take a look." I turn over and take a look. The guy's got his drone up in the air. He's got his controller. Then he takes his phone out and he puts his controller down on the table and he starts hooking his phone up to the controller. It's like, okay, wait a second. This guy's got some of these steps out of order here.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's what it was. People don't know. He took off with the controller. No visual, okay, no settings, none of that.
Yeah, how does he know where anything is set? Return to home?
Nothing. So we let him fly a little. He came back and, "Hey, you just got that drone? Really nice drone." "Oh yeah, I just got it." "Okay, make sure you do things in this order." Okay, and that's how many people, Christmas morning wake up and have a drone under the tree, and by Christmas Eve, the carnage on Christmas trees alone is unbelievable. Okay, because you take it out of the box. It's a consumer product now. We look at it as a consumer product. Directions, they go to the side. Okay, but then again, there's no excuse anymore. YouTube. Okay, be a sponge. Go to YouTube, and watch all the F-up videos.
Yeah.
That will teach you what you need to know. Okay? Don't do this. But pre-flight, as far as I'm concerned, pre-flight has to be a second nature. It's like being in the military. General quarters drills, man overboard drills, damage control drills, and you're like, "Oh man, come on." And then when the shit really hits the fan, you're right where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to.
And the training kicks in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when we have to use this. I said earlier, Marcus, that when, as single engine land pilot, Part 61, you get into that aircraft each and every time. I don't care if you've owned that aircraft for 20 something years, a 172 Cessna, you take out that checklist. If you're in the air, okay, and you get carb heat, you take out the checklist and you turn to that page and you go through step by step by step. Okay. Now, the big difference is I'm sitting in the cockpit. If I don't do it, I'm the one at risk. But we don't sit in those drones. We put them up like it doesn't matter. But we know a drone can do damage.
Right.
First off, it can do a lot of damage to your wallet. Okay. First and foremost, that should be right there. Not having to spend another $1,000 should be motivation enough. Okay.
Yeah.
But we discount the fact that it could come down and hurt somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could come down and do damage to somebody's property. Okay. And it's not like the baseball that went through the window. We can go run because all baseballs look alike. That drone has a serial number. Okay. So you're going to be found out.
Well, and it should have your FAA number on the side, but who knows?
Well, even if you don't,
you
made that purchase. Most likely, $1,000 purchase is not done with $100 bills. It's done with a credit card. So if somebody wants to do the forensics, they're going to come back to you eventually. Okay? Plenty of stories out there where, just in Midtown Manhattan, tourist takes off in a drone, flies into an office building, crashes through a window. Okay? Now, 90% of the dummies show up at the office building the next day to try to get their drone back.
Try and retrieve their drone. Yeah.
Okay? But 10% get found out because they purchased that drone with a credit card.
Yeah.
It's got a serial number on it. And those numbers come together at some point. So
the guy in New York that hit the Blackhawk with the Phantom, that's how they found him, was that all that was left, they found impacted in one of the rotor blades of that chopper, the motor from that drone, a motor from
with a serial number.
They were able to get the serial number off of that and track back to the guy, which,
So, Marcus, what you doing today? You doing any flying?
I've been thinking about it, Johnny. It's a pretty nice day here today. Yeah. One of the things that I did, Autel sent me some experimental
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, an experimental app. Now there's a problem with it though. What they asked me to do is not load it on my iPhone,
Right.
my regular iPhone, because they said that it'll usurp your app that you already have on there. Which I don't know why I couldn't just delete it. I don't know, but anyway, they asked me not to do that. So if I do it, I'll do it with my iPad and see how it affects the little Nano Plus, and so that's a potential thing to do today. So we'll see if that
works.
I
got a baseball game to go to in a little bit here, and then I'm actually have a pre-K graduation tonight. So I literally had something every night this week except Wednesday as it worked out. But hey, we spent a lot of time together as a family, and so good. It's got a one last pre-K tonight. I had one this morning at the lab school, actually, where they did that press conference for that shooting yesterday. So yeah, lots of stuff going on.
Hey, Johnny, as much as everything, listen, we're all concerned about you and your family and about how everybody's doing, and you appear to be doing pretty good right now. But I worry about your grandkids and so forth, because like you said, so much trauma, and I want you to know, by the time I was watching your live stream you did last night, there were just tears streaming down my cheeks by the end of that. So
it's funny because somebody, well, of course, a minute, I don't know, probably I was home like 30 minutes, and my cousin, I saw her name pop up on my phone. She lives in New Orleans, and of course they broke in on the programming.
Right.
So, of course, I knew her name. And then somebody actually texted me from Facebook, and they might have seen it. Somebody wanted a drone flyers. I don't know. I had so many texts. It's like, wow, Lee, how the hell did they find out, like in another state already, But, hey, gunfire and all that makes big. I mean, I hate to say it's, and the kids, I think, listen, not only these kids, but every kid that graduated this year, I think the sophomore year school got cut off. Basically the junior year they really went virtual the whole year, and then this year was really they had a lot of quarantines and stuff, so this class of 2022 was pretty rough, and then to have it marred. But hey, I mean, there's nothing you could do, and listen, I will say, up to the point, man, the graduation, all the kids were having a great time. It was, the typical horn blowing in the university center and cheering and clapping, and graduation, DeMarco and I was talking this morning. It's a big, still a big honor. I think we take it lightly, but some kids may not go to college, and I know 90% do now, maybe even more than that. But it's a big deal for people. So
absolutely.
But hey, just got to move on and just hope it's isolated, and that's all you can say.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys, I actually get to a baseball game. Actually, we playing in a tournament here, so I'm going to go that. I just thought I'd hop on. I was kind of bored and kind of just needed to talk to some people, so I appreciate it so much. Marcus, thank you for calling, and I'll call you back after the game maybe and talk to you. But Tom, thank you for hopping in, and all the guys in the chat. And I don't think, like I said, Fly Zone is doing a show tonight. I think they did one last week, so or maybe they are. I have to text Michael, because I know they had Billy scheduled to be on, Kyle. So
it gets confusing, doesn't it?
Well, they need somebody with a guide. That's what it is.
Somebody needs to make a guide. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, the guide is ever changing. That's the problem. But I think
the guide guy didn't realize the maintenance required.
Yeah. All right, guys, have a great day. Marcus, thank you for joining in. I appreciate you calling. Tom, thank you.
Take care. Good to see you, Marcus. Take care, Johnny.
See you guys.